Hi everyone, welcome back to the You Have Got to Be Knitting Me knitting podcast. My name is Nora and I am You Have Got to Be Knitting Me on Instagram and TikTok, and Nora Byron on Ravelry. You should follow me on all of those things just to be nice, but also while I was setting up the camera, I had the idea for a little giveaway, which I think I'm going to do on Instagram, but I did just have the idea, so I haven't fully fleshed out. But you should definitely follow me on Instagram if you are interested in a little giveaway. Yeah, so this is a really exciting episode because not only do I have a lot to talk about, which I do, but we have also made it to episode 10 of the knitting podcast, which I think is really exciting. I love making these videos and I'm glad that we made it to double digits. Also, I think I got a lot of new subscribers. Well, I know I got a lot of new subscribers, let's be honest, since I posted my last vlog, which is really exciting. So if this is your first knitting podcast, welcome. And if this is not your first knitting podcast, welcome back. But I'm really excited to have made it to episode 10 and just wanted to celebrate for a second. But just to give you a little outline of the episode, I have 3 finished objects, 2 whips, and a little bit of a yarn haul, which will go into future knitting because I have plans for both of the things that I got. And then just a little bit of catch up at the end, TV, books, that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoy this episode and I hope you are knitting or doing some kind of making while you are watching. Okay, the first part of this episode, we are going to talk about finished objects. The first thing I have is my Olga sweater, which I'm not going to talk about very much, but here it is. Here's the back, sleeves. Super cute. It is made out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted, which is one of my favorite yarns. The main color is green tea heather, and this is scrap yarn, or it's still Wool of the Andes worsted. It's just scraps that I have left over from other projects. But I'm not going to talk about this anymore because I have a whole vlog that is the video before this, and I'll link it wherever you link videos in YouTube videos, but I will link it around here. But I have a whole vlog explaining this project from start to finish. So if you're interested in the sweater, I recommend watching that video. So this is finished object number 1. Okay, so I'm not sure if I said what that was, but that was the Olga sweater by Petite Knit. Yeah, that's Olga sweater by Petite Knit. Okay, so my next finished object I did show in my last episode as a whip, so if you are following along, you'll be familiar. These are the Country Cottage socks by Stoneknits. They come in a pattern set of 2, which is called the Dream House sock set. And I knit these socks to match my sweater that I designed and knit a few months ago, which I will show in a second, but let me just go over the yarn first. This purple, the sky color, and the grass are both Jawoll. This one's called Lavender. This one's called Pear. The yellow and the orange are both Cascade Heritage. The yellow is lemon, orange is blood orange. And then the pink is Magpie Fibers, Say Chic. And so I knit these socks to match this sweater. Okay, we're talking about the sweater again. I designed this and knit this in February and March of this year. Show it off. And it has become relevant again because I finished the socks and because it's really cool and because I submitted it to be in the Barnstable County Fair and I got 2nd place. So yeah, that was really fun. I went to the fair with my mom and we saw really cute animals. There was a baby mini goat. There was 3 of them and they were 3 days old and they were so cute. And I took a picture with some llamas, cows. I love the animals at the fair. Ate a corn dog, had some lemonade. and came in second place in the knitting, I think in the novelty design knitting category. I am a little bit disappointed because all of the sweaters were like folded. And so like I just wanted to see, the reason I submitted into the fair is because I wanted to see other people's knits and I wanted people to see my knits. And I just was a little sad when I got there and like, first of all, it was backwards. It was all like this. And so you couldn't really see. So I understand that there was a lot of space. These, like a full sweater all the way folded out would take up a lot of space, but I was just really sad that not just mine, but all of the sweaters I didn't think were displayed very well. But other than that, had a great time at the fair and thought it was fun to win second place. So, yeah. And so finally, I just had these match because I had pink yarn, pink sock yarn that would match the clouds. So I thought it would be cute to knit little socks with pink clouds. Final finished object. I didn't show it all last episode. I finished this quite quickly. I'm obsessed with this. It's one of the cutest things I've made in recent times. This is the Althea top. This is the Althea top by emmas.knits. Super cute pattern, really creative. It has this I-cord that you thread through these double knitting panels. They're like little tubes, and it's double knitting, and then you knit a long I-cord and thread it through, and then it makes this super cute cinch at the waist. And if you are seeing this and you're like, ugh, I don't want to seam, it's knit in one piece. And so you hear that and you're like, ugh, I don't like purling, which I don't understand, okay? I do not understand why people do not like purling. I feel like if you don't like purling, you don't really like the process of knitting, but whatever. I'm not here to judge. But anyways, maybe you see this and you're like, I don't want to purl because it's garter stitch in the round, but it's technically, if you see the seam back here, technically short rows, even though you're doing the full round, so you're knitting the whole time. This pattern is way simpler than it looks. It's other double knitting straps. This is also double knitting. Double knitting seems like a mystery to me, but I also do it quite often. So if you asked me if I knew how to double knit, I would say no, but these straps were very easy to knit. These little tubes were very easy to knit. So this pattern, super cute. I loved making it. The yarn is Summer and Cashmere. Cashmere is spelled with a K. And the color is number 25. The yarn is cotton and silk blend. It's sport weight, but it's pretty, like when I was putting it away, I put it in a bag of other sport weight yarn and it's pretty thin in comparison. It's maybe a little bit thicker than fingering, but I wouldn't like use it mixed in a project with other sport weight yarn because it was pretty thin. Another thing about this pattern, I definitely made an issue measuring myself, and I originally knit the size 3 and then was like, this is too big, and went down to the size 2. Doing that, those two sizes have the same yarn quantity. Doing that, I had so much yarn left over. Again, everyone has different gauges, so I'm not like telling you to definitely do this, but I had a lot of yarn left over knitting size 2 that I maybe would have ordered less yarn, like one ball less of yarn. So if you want to knit this project, but you're like, I don't want to spend that much money, and you like to take a little bit of a risk, maybe order one less ball of yarn if you're knitting the size 2. I can't speak for other sizes, but I had a lot of yarn left over. So that's really all I have to say about this pattern. I think it's super cute. I wore it this weekend and I loved it. And you can really, like one of the worst parts of summer knitting is like thinking about your bra and your bra straps, and the placement and thickness and length of the straps is super customizable. So I was able to like have a bra on and place everything so it fits really well. Althea top, emmas.knits, love it. I highly recommend. Okay, we are moving on to the work in progress section of the podcast. I have 2 work in progresses. The first thing I am making is the Think Tank by Deegan. This is the second time I made this pattern, so I'm going to show you the first one so you can just see what it looks like finished. I knit this when I was living in Belfast. So like 2 years ago. I think that's when the pattern came out. I knit it pretty like early in the pattern release. It is a super cute crop top, and I really like it because it's really fun to pick out the colors. And I'm doing it so the straps match, but I think the actual pattern is like all of the sections are different colors, but I have the straps matching. And so this is my finished one that I knit a few years ago. And so now I am making another one. This yarn is Cascade Heritage Cedar Green, and I used it to make the Love top by Unlucky Knit, and then I did not really like the way that fit on me, so I frogged it. So this is all frogged yarn. This one is holding up really well, and I'm pretty sure it's a full skein. I made it through all the little balls, and so now all I have left is this. And so I just finished the body, and my next rows are going to be splitting for the front and the back. My goal of the day was to get through all of the green and save the straps for tomorrow, but I'm not sure if that is a super achievable goal, but it's good to shoot for the moon. You'll land among the stars. I'll get some part of this done today. So the green is for the body, and then the other colors I have, this is Cascade Heritage Blood Orange. I'm going to use this to be the 2 straps. And then this is a super, super vintage yarn. Not really. I was thinking about it today. I do think this is 10 years old. This is Wool and Vine, who is another knitting podcaster, who I used to watch a lot while I was in high school. This is her sock yarn, and the colorway I'm almost positive is called Mirror of Erised, which that is how old this yarn is, that we were still naming yarn after Harry Potter things willfully. She had a pattern called the Wildesmeer, which was like a shawl, and it was the first time I did an applied border, and it was only a shawl that took 1 skein of yarn, which was great for me, especially in high school. I could not really afford indie dyed yarn. This was definitely like precious. And so I knit that. I know I knit that my senior year of high school, and it was super cute, but it just is really small, and I have so many shawls, especially from that time in my life, that I just don't wear, and I just think shawls are not as in style as they used to be. So I frogged it a while ago and have just been working through the yarn. Yeah, so I just think it's funny that this yarn is so old. But this is going to be the across the chest detail in this color. And so this is what it's going to look like all together. And yeah, this is my think tank. And I'm thinking about making a tank top. I'm thinking about making a TikTok about some patterns that I've knit more than once, because I feel like that is a really good testament to the quality of a pattern if you're willing to knit it more than once. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna I have quite a few patterns that I've knit more than once, so I think I'm gonna make a TikTok about that. Another plug to follow me on TikTok. And my next whip, so Knit Club is the yarn store in Providence that I love, which is not really my local yarn store, but I drive there and pretend it's my local yarn store. And it was Knit Club's birthday, either at the end of June or beginning, I think at the beginning of July. And they had a party, and they had this special yarn dyed. This is Madeline Tosh. They had a special yarn dyed for Knit Club's birthday. So this yarn is called Knit Club. And I'm just realizing that Madeline Tosh sock yarn, twist sock, the superior sock line of Madeline Tosh, is 118 grams, which I think is so random. Anyway, I don't know how they ended up getting a yarn base as 118 grams. So yeah, this yarn, this is the birthday yarn. It really reminds me of a banana split, especially when it was in the hank, because it's like dyed like a big section of yellow, a big section of brown. The white has like multicolored sprinkles in it, and then the red. So I'm not sure if the banana split was actually what was the inspiration, but that's pretty much exactly what it looks like. So that's the birthday yarn, and then I'm just gonna do just vanilla sock, and then do fun toe and heel, so I think I'm going to do this for the heel. It's opal solid. I'm not sure what the color is, but whatever they're like, bright blue or ocean blue. I actually would bet that it's called ocean blue. I think I'm just going to do a drop heel with this color, and then yeah, drop heel and a heel flap and gusset are the same thing, right? I'm going to do a heel flap and gusset, which I'm pretty sure is also called drop heel. And then I have this for the toe, which is Ritual Dyes. This is also from Knit Club. Ritual Dyes in the Pines. So this will be all the colors together. I always say this every time I have vanilla sock on my needles, and then I never do this, but I do like to save vanilla socks for the movie theater. Freakier Friday is coming out soon, so maybe I'll knit these while seeing Freakier Friday. Okay, so those are all the whips. But I got some yarn in the mail on Friday, so I'll show you what that is, and I will talk about what I'm gonna knit with them. Okay, so for my little yarn haul, I have, the first thing is Magpie Fibers Nest, and the color is called Radar Love, and I got 5 of these. Posing with the yarn. Maybe this will make it in the thumbnail, who knows. I got 5 of these for a test knit for James and Watts. This is my second test knit and my second test knit for James and Watts. Thanks, James, for picking me twice. The thing is, I get so excited about getting paid for test knits because every time I apply, I never get picked. But I don't think James is very exclusive with who he puts in his test knits, but it's still very exciting for me. So the pattern is the drop sleeve version of the Look at My Holes, like mesh short sleeve. Now it's a like worsted weight long sleeve drop sleeve version. So I'm really excited to make this. The second I saw the pattern, I knew I wanted it in red, and I have a lot of outfit ideas for this and layering with it, and I think it is nice to have a sweater that is kind of thick but also has holes in it. I can see being quite useful in the transitional months weather-wise, so I'm really excited to make this. I think the test knit is due in September, so we'll see which one I cast on first between the two of these. I think I was planning on casting that one on first, but we'll see. I'm usually pretty fast at cranking these things out, so if I don't do this one first, it will be okay. So that is for the test knit. And then, so I just finished I know my address is on one side of these. I'm not gonna put the box in the frame, actually. Okay, so I just finished the Olga pullover or Olga sweater, and now I'm going to cast on the Olga jacket. This is one of 2 Olga jackets I actually have planned in the near future, so maybe I should wait for my TikTok to finish both Olga jackets, but I can't wait for everything. Anyway. So again, that was a worsted weight, even though the pattern's written in DK weight. I knit my Olga sweater in worsted weight, so I'm going to do the same thing for the Olga jacket, just because I like this yarn. And I prefer having worsted weight in my stash than DK. I use it more often. So these are the 2 colors I picked. This one is called Baltic Heather. And I like this because I used to live in the north of Ireland, and that was like how people would sometimes describe it being cold. It's like, oh, it's Baltic out here. So every time I read this name, it kind of cracks me up. And then this one's called Rose Heather, and they're both like just like blue and red, but this one has a lot of yellows in it, and a really pretty heather tone. I'm not sure how well you're gonna see it, but it's really dynamic color. And this as well has a lot of purples and turquoise and reds in it, so I picked both of them because I feel like they're both colors that just look simple, just a simple blue and red sweater on the surface, and then I think they're both really interesting colors when you look at them closely, so I'm excited to see what they look like together. And I'm also excited to knit like the Olga jacket, how it was designed with just 2 alternating colors. So I also would like to get maybe silver buttons. I'm not sure. Last time I hunted for buttons, it was one of the worst things ever. One of the worst things that's ever happened to me is I was looking for buttons and I couldn't find any. Just kidding. I've had a lot worse things happen. Anyway, I really would like silver buttons. And I think maybe I'll be able to find them at a yarn store in Harwich, but I've not been there in a long time. And sometimes yarn stores that you think maybe have stuff don't even exist anymore. So I'll have to Google if that yarn store is still there. And I think they have a pretty good button selection if I remember correctly. So also I heard that Michael's bought Joanne, so hopefully will help us out on the button front. So yeah, those are my future knits. I'm really excited. So that's why I'm kind of really excited to get my think tank off, and why I'm off the needles, and why I kind of set that drastic goal for myself, because I'm really excited to knit both of these things. Yeah. So those are my future knits, and let's get on to a little bit of catch up. Okay, so I just got back from a really great weekend in New Hampshire with my friends. I went to the University of New Hampshire and have a Bachelor of Science in Human Development and Family Studies. Anyway, I went to the University of New Hampshire and I met really great people and all of my friends. We had a big reunion this weekend in New Hampshire, where I used to live in the town. I used to live in Dover, New Hampshire, which is the town next to UNH. I lived there for 2 years while I worked at a boarding school. And a lot of my friends lived there or still live there. There's actually a house that has been passed down from friend to friend. So we gathered there this weekend. And yeah, really great to get my friends together. I'll put some pictures from the weekend, but we went swimming in Kittery, Maine. So I went to New Hampshire and Maine. Went swimming, got lobsters and seafood, and went to our favorite breakfast place, which is Tucker's in Dover. Shout out to Tucker's. My friend Isabel and I got there a little early, so we drove around campus, or we parked in campus and walked around UNH for a little bit, which was funny. They had a sign for a Toa Bird lookalike contest in one of the dorms, which I thought was really funny. Yeah, but I just had a great weekend with my friends. We had a little barbecue on Saturday night. We had a 15-person sleepover on Friday night because we just couldn't separate even for a few hours of sleep. But that's how you know your friends love each other. So we had a great time, and yeah, I'll put some pictures in. So that was kind of my big social hurrah from the last couple weeks since my last episode. And then I had Knit Club's birthday a few weeks ago, which was also fun. I went with my mom, and we also went to Newport and got some pies. I also made a really great pie a few weeks ago, cherry pie, for a birthday party, which came out really well. I'm going to make another one soon so my family can have some. Anyway, I didn't mean to talk about the pies. So media catch up. Let me look in my notebook. Okay. Books, first of all, I'm not going to say much, but if you have read the newest Wally Lamb book and you want to talk about it, I want to talk about it, but it really is really recent. So I'm not going to say any opinions. I'm just going to say if you are reading / have finished Wally Lamb, The River is Waiting, please comment because I'm really curious to get into some discourse. That's all I'll say. And the book that I'm currently reading, oh, it's right here. Excuse me, I'm gonna lunge off screen. The book I'm currently reading is The Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm a little over 100 pages, and I'm really trying to get into fantasy. I think this has been kind of documented over the course of the podcast, but I read the Silo series, which is sci-fi. I read that a few months ago, and I really liked it. And I liked that it was a series, and so I have been kind of craving reading more series. So I think that kind of leads me to fantasy. I read Onyx Storm, or whatever that series is called, the Rebecca Yarros Fourth Wing. I read all of those books, and this book is actually very similar. Dragons are involved, and I'm enjoying it. I actually think I'm liking it a little bit more than Fourth Wing. There is some parts, and I think this is why sometimes I tell myself I don't like fantasy is because sometimes I'm confused by the like queens and empires and blah, 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 blah. First of all, about 100 pages in, I did realize that there's a character list at the back of the book, which is helpful for the confusing names. And I also am just like, if you just keep reading past the parts that you're confused about, it probably makes more sense than you think it does. Like, I was confused for a whole chapter, and then at the end, she was like, I have to marry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's gonna marry. Like, that's the whole point of this chapter, was the marriage. So anyways, also, if you've read this book, comment, because I would also like to talk about it, but I'm only this far in, so you might have to wait a while, but I'm gonna read. It takes so long. This is behind the scenes of being a knitting content creator. It takes so long to get the footage from my phone to my iPad that I'll probably read while I'm doing that. Yeah, so this is the book I'm reading. So far, I like it. And finally, actually, two things, because I did do something kind of exciting and irresponsible. TV. I rewatched Drag Race All-Stars 7 because I love that season, and the Vivian passed away this winter, and she was on the season, so I wanted to honor her by watching that. And then my friends and I are going to see Oh Mary in September, and Jinx Monsoon is Mary, so Jinx is on that season of All-Stars. It's the All-Winners season. And then my favorite drag queen is Raja, and Raja is on that season, and she is just so legendary. If you have not watched Drag Race, that's a great season to get into because it's the best of the best. They're all winners, but it's on Paramount Plus. We're mad at them, so I had to cancel my subscription. No more Drag Race. That's not why I'm boycotting it. Drag is good. The other show that I watched was called Such Brave Girls. This is a British show that is absolutely insane. I did recommend it to two of my friends, and they were like, no. So I will say that it is like a bit raunchy, but it's really crazy. And it's about two sisters and a mom, and the sisters are so crazy, but the way they're acting, you're like, they're not acting, they're actually like this. So if you like British television and kind of unhinged young women, I recommend this show, but I will give you a warning that some of my friends were like a little turned off by it. I think that was on Hulu. Such Brave Girls. Such Brave Girls. Okay, the irresponsible thing I did was buy a Nintendo Switch 2. I haven't played video games since middle school when I had a Nintendo DS, but I just have been really wanting a Nintendo Switch 2, or I really wanted a Nintendo Switch, but then I waited for the Switch 2 to come out, and I got it 2 weeks ago, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. The only game I'm really playing right now is called Bear and Breakfast. It's about a little bear, and you're like opening a lot of what is it called? B&Bs, bed and breakfasts. You're opening a lot of little hotels, and you have to manage your hotels, but also there's a story and tasks that you're completing. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm a gamer girl now. No more knitting, it's gaming time. And also I got Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart, but I haven't played it that much because I don't think it's very fun to play Mario Kart by yourself. And I'm going to get Nintendo Online, which this is how far out of the gaming world I am. I didn't even know you could play with people online. So I'm gonna get Nintendo Online so I can play with my cousin in South Carolina. So stay tuned for my Mario Kart updates. Right now I only have Bear and Breakfast updates, which is, I love it. Yeah, so that's all I have to talk about. I think this episode was fun. It was the 10th episode, which I'm proud of. Hey to everyone who stuck around this long. Maybe comment something fun, like, okay, if you made it this far, this is good engagement. This is what you're supposed to be doing when you make YouTube videos. If you made it this far, comment your favorite animal emoji in the comments. And if you're on your computer and it's hard to comment emojis, comment your favorite song that you're listening to right now. My favorite song that I'm listening to right now, when I was in Eastern Market in DC a few weeks ago, there was this like, what's that instrument called? steel drum band playing Tom Petty covers, which I thought was so funny because it was like 5 songs in a row, and I was like, wow, does this band only do Tom Petty? It's really specific. But they played The Waiting by Tom Petty, and I added that to my playlist, and I've been listening to it a lot. I've been a Tom Petty fan forever, but it just, the steel drum band reminded me. So that's my favorite song right now, is The Waiting by Tom Petty, or Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I'm pretty sure. I think he only had one solo album, and that is not it. So yeah, that's my favorite song right now. Thank you for sticking around this long. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed already. And go watch the Olga vlog if you haven't. I've had a lot of fun making that, and it was a way different type of video. So yeah, happy knitting, and I will see you soon. Bye.